Good morning. Well, it's morning for me. I don't know when you're watching this. It's just after 6 a.m. in the morning, and I am getting ready for a market today. If you're new here, my name's Shannon. I own a small crochet business called Case and Crochet. If you're not new here, thanks for coming back again. I appreciate you all for clicking on my video and watching. I hope you enjoy coming along with me today for my market. Hopefully I hold true to myself and get plenty of footage for you all. The market that I am attending is like my first winter market of the season. I did 3 fall markets. They were considered fall markets. They started in September. This is my first winter market. Sorry, I just heard my dog. It's local to me. It is about 10 minutes away, which is amazing because I've been like driving 30 minutes to an hour for my last several markets. So sorry if you heard that. That was my dog shaking. I'm really excited for this one. It's a really well-established market where I live. It has over 40 local vendors. Like everybody is like local to our little area, which I think is really cool. Let's see, my load-in time is 9 a.m. There's 2 load-in times, 8 and 9, and then it starts at 10. It is thankfully, or hopefully, fingers crossed, gonna be a decently nice day. It rained last night and it's just stopping raining right now, but the sun is supposed to come out and it's supposed to be in the 50s. So let's hope that remains the case and there's not a lot of wind. And I will bring you along with me as much as I can humanly remember, and show you what the market's like, how things are going, and then of course at the end I will do a recap of what sold, what surprised me, any fun stories that I have. So I hope you stick around. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment, and I will check back in with you all when I'm getting ready to head over to the market. Okay, one final quick make before the market. This is the the garden gnome from the Cozy Stitch, and I put a little leather, I don't know, you call it leather cord to make it a ornament. If you watched my last video, you saw that I bought a little Christmas tree from the dollar store, and I'm gonna hang these guys on there, and I made one final one. Last night I made one other final thing, which was the new Junior Bear pattern from Neutral Knots. I'll put a little clip of him here. I made a polar bear with his Santa hat. He's so cute. I was going for Coca-Cola bear, but I couldn't quite figure out the red scarf, so I'll have to make another one. But those were my final makes before today. I normally have a no crochet the night before or the morning of a market, but I couldn't resist one more little guy. I had picked this yarn out yesterday and I didn't get around to doing it, and I had to make Mini Junior Bear. I'm testing him right now and he's so cute. He took me like an hour and 10 minutes, I think, and then obviously the Santa hat took me, I don't know, an extra like 10 minutes or so to make. But those are my final makes. I am about to go get my kids up, have the hectic start to the morning before my husband takes them to gymnastics, and then I'll be packing up my car and getting ready to go. Okay, I just unloaded the car. I got here a little bit before my load-in time, which I'm happy I did because there was plenty of space for me to park in the temporary drop-off parking. So I just moved my car to the lot that we're supposed to park in. Sorry, I thought my shoe came untied. Now I'm walking back over to the venue. It's damp out. It rained like all last night and it's very humid. I thought it was going to be a lot colder than I was. I have this big jacket on, but I'm starting to sweat, so we'll see how that goes. I'm gonna go get set up, try to do a little time lapse for you guys, and keep you updated on how things go. not had much time for check-ins because it has been so busy. I am in trouble for my market next weekend, that's for sure. Yeah, I'd say the book buddies are really popular again. They really draw people in. But the hatching animals, definitely a bestseller once again. And yeah, things are just going really well. I don't even know what time it is. I think it's maybe almost 12, so I have 3 more hours. It just started getting a little windy. I've got my jacket back on and some plushies are flying, but overall, everything's doing good. I'm trying to make another little hatching. I had this guy made and I'm trying to make another egg. Let me try to do a little video of the booth to update you on how things look. I've been filling stuff in here and there with extra stock that I had. So let me do a quick little clip. All right, guys, I haven't done a lot of check-ins because it's been busy either with sales or just people in my booth. We have probably about like half an hour left. I've had a lot of people ask me about custom orders. I do have a sign on my table that says that you can reach out for customs. And I had one placed while we were here too. Book buddies are almost all gone. I made one more hatching animal and I only have that one left. And I'm making another one now because I have a market next weekend, so I'm gonna have a lot of work to do. Let's see, what else can I share with you guys? I mean, I'll do a full market recap. I'll say one thing that surprised me is that my chubby penguins haven't really sold. I only sold one, but a lot of people have commented on them. My $5 bin is looking pretty sad. Let's see, my Maisie ducks have been popular. I sold 2 out of 4 of those. My little Chloe cows from Love Live collection, I've sold 2 of those. Yeah, it's been a great day. Besides the wind, it's gotten pretty windy and pretty cold. But we'll be wrapping up here soon and I will do a full recap and share what sold, when it sold, what surprised me, and all that good stuff. Hello, so let's get into the market recap. I'm a couple days late recording this for you guys because the market was on Saturday. On Sunday, I got my COVID and flu shots and they always make me sick. And what do you know, we had a busy day Sunday with our kids, and then Sunday night I started not feeling good. Monday I did not feel good, and we had also took off on Monday because I know I don't feel good. It was also a busy day. I had to take my car and had to take the dog to the vet. And then yesterday was Veterans Day and my son was off school. So here we are on Wednesday filming the recap. First of all, let's recap the event itself. So it was a winter artisans market put on by a local art gallery that hosts local artisans within their gallery. I'm not one of the artisans in the gallery. However, they put on 2 markets in the shopping center they are in each year, one in the summer and one in the fall. Well, it was called a winter market, but I feel like November is still technically the fall, especially early November. Anyways, it was from 10 to 3. There was 48 local vendors. There was one other crochet vendor and then one other vendor that made like sewn plushies. There was such a good array of vendors. This is a juried event. You have to apply, they review applications, they make sure there's not a lot of duplicates, etc. I feel like because this is a market that's put on by an art gallery that has local artisans, a lot of the people that come are coming because they want to shop handmade. They expect to pay handmade prices, etc. If you couldn't tell by the thumbnail for this video, it was a great market. And from like my updates during the market, it was great. The weather was good. The night before it rained all night. So like when we got there, like everything was wet and it was cold at first. Then the sun came out, it was sunny, and then it was very, very windy. I must say that the market, like organizers were incredible. This is the first market ever I've been fed at. They had bagels and coffee. They came around with hand warmers once it started getting cold again. They came around every time there were a big wind gust. They came around with like binder clips and rope and anything you needed to help secure your items. There unfortunately were a couple crashes that I heard of like pottery and stuff. But they warned us that it's typically a windy area. So that's a recap of the event itself. My load-in time was 9 a.m. I got there a little early and I'm glad I did because it took me like the full hour and 15 minutes I had. But let's get into the sales because I know that's what you're here for. I had a total of 53 transactions, which is awesome. And yeah, I hear a lot of you like to hear like my like hour by hour sort of sales. So I'm going to give you the timestamp, what sold and how much it sold it for. And hopefully I'll remember to tell you some fun stories along the way. I have my sales report up on the screen above you all. So if I'm looking up, that's why. The morning was a little bit slow to start. My first sale was at 10:30 and I sold one of my Boo Boo Buddies. It was the Duck Boo Boo Buddy. That's a pattern by Brandon and Ray. And those I sell one for $8, two for $15, and they bought one. So that was an $8 sale. Shortly after, this guy came into my booth and first he picked up the beehive with the bees inside. And he's like, I'm getting this for my grandson. And then he kept looking around and his wife came in and she was like, no, we're getting that sloth. And that's the Shiloh the Sloth by Smoky Mountain Lily. She was like, we're getting that sloth. So, that was really funny. They purchased the sloth. That's $28. But the beehive didn't sit for long. At 10:43, one of my small beehive toys sold for $28. People loved, when people came over to look at them, I always tried to call out to tell them that the bees had little rattles in them, and they loved that. Let's see. The next sale, oh, sorry. This was a sale altogether. Oh my gosh. So this was a sale altogether. This was to my lovely, amazing daycare provider. She bought a lot of things for her granddaughter. So she bought the beehive toy. She loved that. She also bought the hatching duck. Both of those are by the same designer. Again, everything will be linked in the comments or in the description. So she bought the beehive toy for $28. The hatching duck for $15. She bought my last Noodles the kitten for $18. She bought my white silly bird in the chicken style for $12. And then she bought my Puddles the pig by CC Handmade Hugs that had the fairy outfit. So I had on a pink dress and fairy wings. So that was like over $100 purchase. I think it was like 103 or something like that. So that was altogether such a generous purchase. She's been asking for an event that I have that's close to her, and this one was like literally so close. So she was so excited. Shortly thereafter at 10:47, I brought 2 hatching ducks, and the second hatching duck sold for $15, along with a hatching monkey to the same woman. That was the Green Frog Crochet monkey that I put in an egg. So it was a $30 purchase. A little bit after that, somebody came back and asked me if I had any more hatching ducks, and I didn't. So I need to bring more of those. Then at 10:50, I sold my Guess How Much I Love You book buddy that I made. I used the Baby Bonnie bunny pattern with the Oak and Marlowe standing up ears from her bunny to make it look like the Guess How Much I Love You bunny. So that was $38. It was a grandma who just had their first grandchild, and she's like, are you kidding? Guess how much I love you? I have to get this. So that was $38. Then at 10:57, I sold my Otter book buddy, which is the I Love You Like No Otter, and I pair it with I can't remember if it's Reed or Rowan otter, but the smaller otter. I've also paired it with the bigger otter, but this one was the smaller one, and I sold that for $32. And then at 11:01, so that was 10:50, 10:57, and 11:01, I sold my Angelina Ballerina book buddy that used the Oak and Marlowe mouse in the ballet outfit for $38. So that was 3 back-to-back book buddies. So that was incredible. Then you can tell I had a line at this point. So at 11:05, I sold a like mini $5 duck. At 11:06, I just wrote down that I sold 3 minis. I think she got like 1 duck and 2 all from Jade Wales. So that was a $15 purchase. At 11:14, I sold a yellow Maisie duck. That's the Oak and Marlowe pattern. It's a free mod to the Mabel chicken pattern that's on her blog. At 11:24, I sold my brown spotted Cooper cow. That's a pattern from Neutral Knots. That was $30. This boy was so sweet. He's around the same age as my youngest, who was also in my booth at the same time. And they were talking to each other in their like 2-year-old mumbo jumbo. It was really cute. Let's see. At 11:26, I sold one of my gnome ornaments. So that is the Cozy Stitch like mini garden gnome that I put on a like leather like cord. And I sold those for $8 each. She asked me if I had any more. This was the one, it had a red and white hat. And she asked me if I had any more like that, and I didn't. So I'm going to make more for my next market. The other ones just had solid colored hats. Then that was at 11:26 and 14 seconds. And then at 11:26 and 56 seconds, I sold another Boo Boo Buddy. This was one of the flower ones for $8. Then I sold my last Lazy Cat. It's a green frog crochet pattern at 11:27. That was $16. And then at 11:28, again, a line in my booth, I sold another, excuse me, yellow Maisie duck for, this was the same person. They bought 2 yellow Maisie ducks for $15 each. So that was a $30 purchase. I sold at 11:30, I sold another gnome ornament for $8. Then at 11:31, I sold my corduroy book buddy. This one was paired with the Mama Made Minis Briggs Bear that I put in like the corduroy overalls for $35. At 11:32, I sold 2 more minis. I think it was Too Many Whales. Yes, it was Too Many Whales because they also bought my, no, sorry, I'm thinking about a different person. It was 2 minis. I think it was Too Many Whales. At 11:35, I sold my blue Miles monkey, which is a pattern from Neutral Knots. I love that monkey, and I loved it in that blue. It was to a sweet boy who was the son of one of the vendors. At 11:37, I sold one of my chubby penguins. That was a Cozy Stitch pattern. That was $10. I was so surprised more of those didn't sell. That was my only one that sold. So that was surprising. At 11:54, I sold one of my Chloe cows. That's a pattern from Love Live collection. This was one that I made with yellow spots. Sold it to this sweet girl who was like really taking her time in my booth, and she bought it for her mom, which I think was so cute. The next purchase, I started putting things out from like my summer stuff because my table was looking bare. So I put out my seahorse and sea dragon from Moonsprouts, and I sold the sea dragon for $25. And then they also bought 2 hatching dinos for $30. So that was a $55 purchase. At 12:01, I sold another mini duck for $5, along with one of the silly birds from the Run the Yard Fox pattern for $12. Those were also very popular. Let's see. At 12:02, I sent a Biddy kit. I sold a Biddy kitty, but it was a custom Biddy kitty, so I still have to make it. She wanted one that was black with a white belly. So I need to make that. Yeah, it's on a long list of things I need to make. Oh boy, at 12:04, I sold my Ladybug Book Buddy for $24. That was a ladybug from Yesenia's Creations that went with that. Then at 12:21, I sold another gnome ornament for $8. At 12:21, I sold a pink Mabel chicken. That was to one of my son's daycare friends. She's so sweet. Let's see. At 12:33, I sold the Give a Mouse a Cookie Book Buddy. So that was the Mischief Mouse from CC Handmade Hugs that went around along with that book. I put him in overalls and I made a little pouch on it. So that was $32. That was much deliberated over. They were having a hard time choosing. Then at 12:35, I sold another mini whale for $5. At 12:37, I sold just my plain white Chloe cow with black spots for $22. At 12:51, I sold my Peas in a Pod. That was a book buddy, but this girl who was a repeat customer, she saw me at another event. She really wanted it, so I separated them for her. I sold them for $15. Then at 1:10, I sold another Bitty Kitty for $22. That is a pattern from, I think it's from Raven and Jade. I've had them for a while. At 1:30, I sold another mini whale for $5. My minis basket is looking sparse. And then at 1:57, again, this event only went until 3 o'clock. I sold my corduroy book buddy that I paired with the Neutral Knots mini junior bear, which is so cute. I sold that for $26. Oh my goodness. Then at 2:13, this husband came into my booth and he snatched up my last granny square turtle. It was like pink and yellow. And he was like, I don't want my wife to see me. And he bought that for $25 and he gifted it to her there, but it was just so sweet. Let's see, at 2:15, I sold my second caterpillar, Very Hungry Caterpillar book buddy for $25. You know what? I'm saying second, but oh yeah, I told you about the first one. I think I did. I had sold one earlier in the morning. I can't remember saying that, but I sold that for $25. I only had two. Somebody came back later looking for it, and that same person that was looking for it messaged me asking me to make one for them, and they're picking it up for me this Saturday. Then at 2:17, I sold a Mabel chicken for $12 and another hatching dino for $15. I was to the same person. And then at 2:36, I sold two more mini whales. You know what? I actually think I'm missing one of my silly birds in here. Anyways, we'll figure that out. That was for $10. Then that husband that bought his wife the granny square turtle, she came back to my booth to buy something for her grandchild, and she bought my Mav monkey in the baby sand burnout blanket yarn for $28. I brought two of the beehive toys. I sold the last one at $2.45 for $28. At $2.50, I sold a Maple chicken for $12. So I sold 3 Maple chickens. Those haven't been selling for me, and I sold all 3 that I brought. So that was great. I sold one more chubby penguin at $2.50 for $10. And then my final sale was at $2.51. It was a silly bird for $12. There's one thing that I know is for sure missing in here, and that is I had a Grinch and Max that's from Bridget at, I always forget what her name is. It's like Klein's Creations. I don't know. She'll be tagged, I promise. I sold that. The person only wanted the Max, so I separated the Max for $10. So drum roll please for my sales total. I think I'm missing one more thing from here I need to backtrack for, but that's okay. My final sales for the day were $1,001. So this was my second best market of all time. The booth fee was $50, and I think my square fees, sorry, I'm looking it up. My square fees were $13.60. So I'm not good at math, so let's put this into the calculator. Minus 50 minus 13.60. So my final sales for the day were $937.40. So it was a wonderful day. I had such a great time. The organizers were great. The weather, besides the wind, was really great. Yeah, it was wonderful. I think I sold a total of 8 book buddies. I brought 11, the one I separated for that little girl, and I didn't sell 2 others. So my next market is this upcoming Saturday, and I've been frantically making more book buddies, more Maisie ducks, more hatching animals, more things for my $5 bin. Those are my priorities. And then I have to make some items to sell in another farm store. I still need to restock the other farm store that I'm in. I have a 2-week break until my next market, which is the Sunday after Thanksgiving. So it's been busy. I hope you enjoyed this market video. I hope you enjoyed this recap. If you have any questions about what sold or how I did things, please leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you here next time.